Their absence is not merely accidental. That's the assumption now circulating in the minds of thousands of fans. Amid the overwhelming excitement surrounding Jin's first post-military concert, attention shifted to the two names most anticipated to appear together, Jungkook and Taehyung. But the opposite happened. Not only did they fail to appear as a pair, but they also showed no signs of togetherness before, during, or after the event. This situation raises a major question. Did they intentionally avoid Jin's concert together? And if so, why? The timeline of BTS members' attendance at Jin's concert shows oddities that cannot be ignored. Various videos and fan documentation show J-Hope, RM, and Jimin attending with open support, fully immersed in the celebratory euphoria. Yet there wasn't a single moment where Jungkook and Taehyung were seen together at the venue. Going further, no photo, video, or hint of interaction between them existed within the same time frame. This fact further reinforces the perception that their absence as a duo wasn't just a logistical coincidence, but perhaps a deliberate decision. Fans are divided in response. Some try to rationalize the situation as a result of differing personal schedules, but many see this separate absence as a pattern repeating over the past few months. Taekook, a term long used to represent the emotional and visual closeness between Jungkook and Taehyung, suddenly feels like a concept no longer publicly relevant. While fans speculate, social media is flooded with fragmented analyses, from gestures and expressions to their presence, now seen as too distant to be natural. The issue intensified after fans noticed that neither Jungkook nor Taehyung shared content or comments regarding Jin's concert on social media or through public statements. Within BTS's internal tradition, special moments between members are almost always met with visible support in the form of stories, photos, or even casual mentions. The absence of those elements this time only deepens the suspicion that a silent decision was made, either jointly or individually, not to attend in a visibly united way. Then comes the sharper question: is this personal distance that evolved into a professional decision? Or conversely, a silent strategy to avoid overwhelming expectations from a fanbase already hypersensitive to Taekook's presence and dynamics? Whatever the motive, their decision not to appear together at a major moment like Jin's concert leaves a very real impact. Fans are now split between disappointment, confusion, and even feeling betrayed by a reality that doesn't meet expectations. Meanwhile, the narrative of Taekook's crack continues to be sustained and strengthened by their increasingly individual digital behavior. Playlists that no longer overlap, emotionally contrasting music references, and diverging directions in personal projects all form puzzle pieces leading to one major conclusion: the two are no longer orbiting the same path. Is this the result of natural shifts in their relationship dynamics, or a sign of unresolved tension never before revealed? However, amid this wave of speculation, we need to pause and ask critically: is any of this truly real? Are we not falling into the trap of narratives built from incomplete pieces of information? Social media often exaggerates the gap between fact and perception. A video clip just seconds long can become the basis for rushed emotional conclusions. So shouldn't we be more cautious in interpreting all this? Most of the circulating information so far originates from social media platforms like TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Speculative content, visual analysis, and conspiracy theories dominate public discourse. Unfortunately, not one of these sources can truly guarantee accuracy. In this situation, it's important to distinguish between collective opinion and verifiable evidence. Because once again, when we draw conclusions too quickly, what we build is not understanding, but prejudice. We invite readers not only to ask, what's happening, but also, why are we so quick to believe that it's happening? A skeptical attitude is crucial so that we don't get caught in the deceiving logic of virality. In their absence from Jin's concert, perhaps there was no intent to avoid. Maybe what we're seeing is simply the absence of togetherness, not the presence of conflict. Yet because the public's expectations of Taekook are so high, that empty space has now become the source of all the noise. To close, let us pose the most important question: is all this real, or just a reflection of collective expectations created by the fanbase itself? If Taekook didn't attend together, Does that mean they're at odds? Or does it simply show they're individuals with the right to manage their space and presence in ways that suit their personal comfort? Without direct confirmation, all of this remains in the realm of speculation. Therefore, our task is not to search for absolute certainty, but to keep our reasoning grounded and avoid falling into illusion. Because ultimately, human relationships, especially behind the camera, always contain more layers than can be captured by a single silent moment. Looking back, we need to question again. Did Taekook truly avoid Jin's concert together? Or are we drawing conclusions too quickly based on limited information? Their absence from a shared visual frame is real, but must that absence always be interpreted as rejection, tension, or conflict? As viewers, we are often driven by the desire for a dramatic narrative. This phenomenon isn't new in global fanbase culture. Amid the fast and massive distribution of information via platforms like TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, raw data often morphs into opinion, then develops into collective truth, without time for verification. A 5-second video clip can generate thousands of emotional interpretations, leading the public to conclusions that may not be accurate. So, let's ask a deeper question. Are we truly witnessing the truth, or merely accepting a narrative curated by algorithms and personal bias? Is this event a reflection of the real dynamics of their relationship, or just the consequence of unfulfilled collective expectations? We need to remember that what we see on screen is not the whole story. Cameras only capture a fraction of reality, while context and motivation often remain behind the scenes. In the case of Taekook, their absence together at Jin's concert could stem from many factors: scheduling, personal strategy, privacy boundaries, or even emotional fatigue from public pressure. Yet, in the absence of an official explanation, and because the fanbase is used to seeing them as an inseparable entity, that empty space is filled with assumptions and suspicion. What deserves attention is how the public responds to that void. Rather than being critical, most tend to reinforce unverified narratives. This is the moment when the public must take a step back from the euphoria and ask, who actually benefits from the emergence of this discourse? Are we witnessing real conflict, or victims of content deliberately designed to boost engagement? Questions like these are vital for developing collective awareness about how we consume information. Because fundamentally, the public is not just passive viewers, but also part of the machinery that spreads these narratives. When we share, comment on, and believe unverified information, we contribute to strengthening an ecosystem of opinions that may be built solely on assumption. Can we still call it a pursuit of truth if the process we follow is clouded with emotional bias and community pressure? Can we accept that not everything must be explained publicly, especially when it involves the private lives of two individuals who have already shared so much of themselves with the world? We need deeper reflection. Why can the absence of a single shared visual moment between Jungkook and Taehyung stir such massive turmoil within the fan community? Does this show how deeply the public emotionally depends on their relationship narrative? And if so, isn't this a sign that the public must learn to let go of excessive attachment to the illusion of togetherness? Therefore, we invite readers and viewers to refrain from making conclusions too quickly. We also encourage that every piece of information received be processed through a clear, skeptical, and rational lens. It's important not to treat a single narrative as absolute truth, especially when that narrative stems from social media content easily manipulated by framing and editing. Finally, we want to emphasize once again, this article is built upon observations of widely shared public content on social media, not from official statements or direct confirmations from involved parties. Thus, all presented information should be regarded as a reflection of public discourse, not as final fact.